Take a trip with us as we explore the Isle of Iona off the west coast of Scotland. The Inner Hebridean island sits just off the Ross of Mull and is inhabited by about 120 people, but each day substantially more people are on the island to visit its famous attraction. The island itself is 1 mile or 2 kilometres wide and 4 miles, that's 6 kilometres long. In the early historic period, Iona lay within the Gaelic kingdom of Dál Riata. An Irish monk, Saint Columba, would come to the island with 12 companions. He would there found a monastery in 563 AD. The abbey would become the monastical centre of the Gaelic language for over 3 centuries. After the unification of the kingdoms that would unite and form Scotland, it became the final resting place for many of the early kings of Scots. It would also later become the resting place of the Lordship of the Isles. Despite the large number of visitors that visit the Abbey each day, it is still possible to enter the shrine of St. Columba and find some peace and tranquility. Having the monastery of the Abbey of Iona on their lands, it became a great sense of pride to the MacDonalds and to the Lordship of the Isles. The MacVurach bard would say of Donald of Harlaw, he gave the lands to the monastery of Iona and every immunity which the monastery of Iona had had from his ancestors before him. As you walk around the Abbey, you're overwhelmed by the sense of history of the building. Wherever you look, there are signs of its past, as well as the present. walk through the cloisters is like walking through a time capsule. Not only do you get the feeling of what the abbey was like back in its day, but the walls are covered with the gravestones, in particular that of some of the Islesmen who are obviously been buried here on the island. To the rear of the abbey, one of the many buildings has been taken over and turned into a museum, housing and keeping safe many of the old stonework and of the artefacts that have been found around the abbey. It also includes a copy of the Book of Kells. It's a fascinating insight to the history of the abbey and the people who lived here. In 1549, an inventory of 48 Scottish, 8 Norwegian and 4 Irish kings were recorded as being buried at Iona. None of the graves now are identifiable. The inscriptions were reported to have been worn away by the end of the 17th century. Orange Chapel was built by Somerled, who would go on to build a kingdom that would be known as the Lordship of the Isles eventually. His ancestors that would follow him as the Lords of the Isles would be buried at Orange Chapel. The nunnery on Iona was founded by Somerled's son, Reginald, and it was his sister, Berfag, who became the first prioress of Iona Nunnery. The nunnery declined after the Scottish Reformation, but it was still a favourite burial place for women on the island. The island is now looked after by the local community, as well as the National Trust for Scotland. It has taken its place in Scotland's history, but is also of great environmental importance with the wildlife that lives on the island. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe and help the channel grow. are here on the lovely island of Iona, and we're exploring at the moment the nunnery.
And here they were having none of it.